Development from the United States. The criminal trial of Ryan Routh, the man accused of attempting to assassinate US President Donald Trump at his Florida golf course, has opened with Routh representing himself. Routh has pleaded not guilty to 5 federal charges, including attempted assassination of a major presidential candidate. He faces a maximum sentence of life in prison. Prosecutors say Routh hid with a rifle near the 6th hole green at Trump International Golf Club in West Palm Beach on the 15th of September of last year. He apparently intended to kill the president. A Secret Service agent spotted him and opened fire, prompting Routh to flee without firing a shot. He was arrested later that day on a Florida highway. The trial begins a day after right-wing activist Charlie Kirk was shot dead at Utah Valley University. A jury of 7 women and 5 men will hear evidence following opening statements. The case is presided over by Judge Aileen Cannon, who also oversaw Trump's classified document case. Routh, who had an erratic personal history and unorthodox political views, will have his former public defenders serve as standby lawyers to help with logistics. We're once again joined by David K. Johnson to discuss this further. Of course, this trial comes at a time when political violence is at the front of everyone's mind, especially after yesterday's events, David. What can you tell us about the pattern of political violence in America? Of course, everyone's mind draws themselves to notorious cases such as JFK, such as Abraham Lincoln, where it has been rife in America. But what is the situation when it comes to political violence today, and how common is it in American society?
Well, it's a rare event in American society, without a question. Shootings are not. We have multiple shootings almost on a daily basis in this country. But political violence has been a part of America from before we were the United States of America. We have the provisions of the Second Amendment in large part because slave owners in the 1700s wanted to make sure they had weapons and could use them. So the current state of affairs is that we are not paying much attention to many of the shootings in the United States, even when they are clearly political in one nature or another, but we're focusing on a few events involving well-known people. And I think people probably have a distorted view of this. The only country in the world with the number of gun deaths that we have is us, the US. No other country has 1/10 of the level of gun deaths that we have in the United States. And in our country, you can buy a military-style assault rifle capable of firing many rounds in a minute. And at least in some states, notably Florida, under this new court decision, walk into a supermarket, walk into a school, walk down the street with it. That inevitably will lead to more political violence until we change the culture underneath this, and cultures take a long, long time to change.
Yes, and David, of course, this is the trial of a man. This incident occurred over a year ago. No, just under a year ago now, and it came aligned, of course, with that televised assassination attempt in Boulder. What do you believe is going to be the outcome of this case? Of course. And what have the precautions been since that have happened? We had 2 assassination attempts on the US president within the space of a month. How do you think the Secret Service and Donald Trump's security has changed since these events have happened?
Well, for a long time, the Secret Service had a reputation as this incredibly efficient, well-run operation, and that began to fall apart during an earlier administration when a number of Secret Service agents detailed overseas went to a bordello run by cartel drug gang members in Colombia. And we've since had a very insightful book by Carol Leonig of the Washington Post into a lot of the problems at the Secret Service. Now, we've increased Secret Service funds. At the same time, President Trump has withdrawn Secret Service protection for Democrats who had been receiving it from General Milley, the former head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, who the Iranians have publicly targeted for assassination. So we're also seeing, unfortunately, the politicization of the Secret Service. But the underlying problem here is this idea that it's my way or the highway. The Speaker of the House in 1994, Newt Gingrich, and his deputy, Dick Armey, Congressman Dick Armey, went around saying at the time, bipartisanship, that is cooperation and compromise between Republicans and Democrats, bipartisanship is a political term for date rape. And they rejected this. They adopted the idea it's our way or none at all. And that's a real core problem. And surveys show that Americans believe in compromise, they believe in negotiation, and they reject this my way or the highway approach.
Yes.
And yet, among the leadership, it's growing, Thomas.
Yes, David K. Johnson. Do stay with us. We have some breaking reports coming in where U.S. Vice President J.D.